From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
Woo! Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, y'all gon' make me go all
Wake up!
out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the program. Tuesday edition of Wake Up War Chant. Thursday will be your turn to set the agenda. It's the Renegade Express. Go over to warchant.com. Go to the Tribal Council. Leave your question in the thread, pinned to the top. We'll get to it if it comes strong. And then Friday, we'll turn it back over to you folks. The brave souls that leave voicemails. We'll make another phone call Friday. Perhaps leave us, and by us I mean myself and Corey Clark, your favorite Miami game story. Try to keep it fairly brief, a minute or less. Best ones perhaps we'll showcase, and we'll let you regale everybody, the tens of thousands of people that listen to this program on a daily basis. Before we get to that, though, we're going to talk about what we want to talk about. And with that, by we, it means Corey's here as well. Corey, how are you, friend?
I am wonderful.
Yeah.
How are you doing, buddy?
Good. Monday was a big day of accomplishment. Went to Willie's press conference and then went to Hauser, spoke to Drew Parrish, Drew Mendoza, spoke to 11. The final hoorah for Mike Martin Sr. And then I went to the gym, went to Publix. A little bit of nonsense occurred at Publix. People talking too much in line and trying to be all friendly when I'm trying to go hurry up, no huddle, so I can get out of there and do some film research on the Louisville Florida State game. How was your day?
Well, I guess it wasn't that eventful.
Yeah.
Got up, took my son to school.
Yeah.
Came home, might have taken a little bit of a nap. Took a walk, did a little bit of work, went and practiced baseball with my son, and now getting to do the show, watch some baseball. It was kind of a relaxed Monday. I'll be honest with you.
Good.
Can't complain, and I didn't have to get up. Well, I mean, I guess we don't have to get up early on Mondays anyway. Thanks for that, Willie. Yeah. But I don't even have to get up all that early on Tuesday.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, you deserved
today.
it.
I should say today. I don't even have to get up that early today to go interview football players.
Yeah. That was a much-deserved sort of coasting of a Monday for you after what you had to do this weekend, Louisville by yourself. I mean, golly, I was telling Ira, I'm like, Corey, interviewing all those guys, getting all that video after the game, that was a hell of an effort, man. I'm proud of you. Glad to call you
Corey
coworker.
Clark has never done that before. That was the now they weren't great interviews because it was like 90 seconds each.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun that I got to interview 10 guys all at once.
Yeah, fantastic. Did they not make you do that at the Democrat or something? You didn't have to do all that?
I should say, no. Well, no, we didn't. We weren't that heavy with it. Plus, last year when I was on the road, they would lose, so we would only get 3 guys.
Yeah.
So they won, so there were 11 guys to
Woo.
talk to, and so I tried to get as many as possible.
Yeah.
But I should say, in Louisville, I can't remember. Remember the woman that called and said she would take us to Churchill Downs?
Yes.
And I said, no, I'm going to be there anyway.
Right.
Did I tell you this? I can't remember if I told you this story on yesterday's show or not.
You certainly did not proceed.
Okay, yeah, so she found me, and I wish I could remember her name. I really do apologize. Her son couldn't make it, but she was at Churchill Downs. She found me because there weren't many people there, and she gave me a bat from the Louisville Slugger, a Florida State bat from the Louisville Slugger Museum to give to Brady.
Oh,
like one of those little toy, tiny
yeah.
kind of bats. So that was really nice. People, and then I went to the Kentucky Seminole Booster Club event on Friday night, met some friends there and met some new friends there with Keith Cottrell, the former punter for Florida's national champion punter for Florida State, and his buddies. And people are just really, really nice to me about, just about me, but also about the show. Okay. People are always very complimentary, at least to our faces.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to everybody that met me or said something nice to me this weekend in Louisville. It's much appreciated, and I don't take it for granted, even though I should because I'm pretty awesome and everybody tells me so. You'd think I'd be used to it by now.
Did any of them preface it with, "Hey man, love the show, but"?
No, actually, I don't think I got any of that. Maybe one, but who knows? I don't think I got any of that. Not about this show anyway. Maybe the other show, but I'm on, but not this show. Everybody it was all much love for this show.
Here's what's grinding my gears on Tuesday, Corey. I'm sure you're dying to know.
Can't wait.
Okay, we had somebody and this is the thing. I need an intern just to post all this stuff to the internet so I don't have to read anybody's comments. If you want to tag me on the Tribal Council, I'll read it because you've paid, and I'll read it. Otherwise, I really have no use for the feedback. I'm sorry. I'm just at that point right now, Corey. So somebody post this really long, I don't want to call it a diatribe because it seemed like it was well thought out, but this long reply to our show on Monday. And they preface it with the whole, hey man, love you guys, but, and then proceeded to insult us. And here's the thing. People don't like my tone of voice right now. They're like, wow, Aslan sounds aggressive. He sounds very hostile. That's not very, becoming of a host of a show that's dealing with college athletics. People are going to go at you. You got to let it roll down your back. I get it. So basically, long story short, this guy is saying we need to knock it off, or I guess primarily me, knock it off with this whole trying to push a more of a pass-centric offense. Which, okay, like I'm not trying to push it. I'm just saying I just feel like that needs to be maybe explored a little bit more.
Well, that seems like a well-thought-out, reasoned argument. Did he talk about your mom after that or something?
No. What he was saying is that I've never played college football. I should shut up. Basically.
I agree with that.
You've never played ball. I've never played ball. Why are we talking about strategy? I want everybody to like the show. I really do, but I know it's not going to happen. So I had to go back and look at everything, Corey, all right? Because this whole, I don't want to use the word narrative because that's the worst word in all of sports right now. So basically he's also saying, I don't know anything about football. I didn't play football. The run is really starting to set up a lot of the success that Florida State's had through the air. Now, I went back and looked at the condensed version of the game, Corey, that was posted from the ACC Digital Network. Now, in all fairness, Florida State ran 60 offensive plays on Saturday in their victory over Louisville. They only put in 31 of the reps for some reason. Anyhow, of the 60 reps, we only got to see 31 of them on the replay. Of those 31, only 9 did they have more than 6 people in the box. Okay, which you would think 6 people is standard, 4-man front, 2 linebackers, and they're usually playing man at Louisville. They're not playing a lot of zone. All right, so you would think if the run is setting up the pass, there'd be a lot of 8 men in the box, 7 men in the box, and that sort of stuff would open up big pass plays. But again, of the 31 that were on film for us to watch, or for me to watch, only 9 had more than 6 people in the box. And of those 9 plays where there's more than 6 people in the box, so all right, they're bringing everybody in, go up top, start hitting him with the pass, they still ran the ball 5 times into those fronts. One of them was Cam Akers on 4th and 1, and he got it. Shout out to my boy Cam. Good for him. But over half the time, when they're showing more than 6 guys in the box, they're still running at it. And a lot of times, things didn't end well. There was a lot of lost yardage on some of those plays. One of them, though, was the jet sweep to Mr. Harrison, Trayshawn Harrison. So a shout out to him. So I'm going through all this, but I just feel like they're being successful through the air in spite of the fact that they're running the ball and they're not running the ball well. And I don't know, I felt like these numbers somewhat, I don't want to say vindicate, but a little bit, at least there's nothing conclusive. There's nothing conclusive that Florida State running the ball 40 times and only averaging 3 yards a carry is making defenses really scared about the running attack, and they're selling out on that, and Florida State's taking advantage of it. It's just not. And I'm done.
All right, folks, we'll be back with the next segment of Wake Up War Chant right after this. Man, you got way too fired up, Aslan. As a friend, as a co-host, you can't let that stuff get to you, buddy. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. And I think even if they become a pass first offense, Willie's not going to say that to us. He wants Miami to think that they're going to run it 45 times on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. And they can't. They can't win the ball. They can't win games by running the ball. What games have they won this year? And how much did the running game do in any of those games? Now you can say, yeah, if you don't run at all, then they're going to sit back and expect you to pass. Well, okay, sure. I think Aslan's point, and I kind of agree with this, is they're kind of sitting back waiting for you to pass anyway. I don't think those 2-yard carries by Cam Akers and the fact that Francois never, ever keeps the ball, even when there's positive yards out the gate on the other side, I don't think that's opening up the passing game. I think their passing game is opened up because they have good receivers, and on Saturday they could protect. But I don't think that linebackers were charging upfield because they thought a run was coming. I mean, I just don't. I don't think maybe the Terry play for the touchdown. I think this is going to be a passing offense.
That looked like an RPO. Maybe it was one of those where the mesh point was held for a good amount of time and it kind of froze up the linebackers. But that was man coverage. That was one-on-one. Terry goes streaking down the field.
That was man coverage before the play.
Yes,
that was man coverage. The safety didn't come charging in because of the play action. The safety was already on the other side of the field.
And the cornerback was not cheating and looking in the backfield to see if the ball was going to be handed off. He was absolutely dedicated and sold out the covering to Tamorrion Terry. There was one play, and I will say this, and I think it was McKitty's touchdown, and I didn't do a good enough. Actually, no, here it is. It was actually on Tamorrion Terry's catch on 4th down. They had 7 guys in the box. They actually rushed 6. The linebacker, since they were in man coverage, the linebacker had to focus on the running back that was in the backfield, although I don't know how, what was that, 4th and 3 when they threw it to Tamorrion Terry? I think it was a 4th and 3. Yeah. So I don't know how much they thought they were really going to run the ball. But the linebacker did have to attack the line of scrimmage to account for the running back. That opened up the middle of the field, and then DeAndre throws a strike to Tamorrion Terry. So you can give a little bit of credit in the fact that they're respecting the run, or at least respect. But I mean, I don't even think they're respecting the run in that.
They're not respecting
the
run.
They're in man coverage. They're in man coverage, and the linebacker's responsibility is the running back.
It's a trigger that all linebackers are going to see. It's going to freeze them almost all the time, a college linebacker, when he sees a fake into the belly of a running back. That's just how it is. Whether you've thrown it 12 times or not, I feel like that college linebacker on play 13 is still going to think, okay, here comes the run. And he's going to freeze or he's going to come up on that. The run game is, again, here's my thought going into this game, and then obviously you got Clemson and Notre Dame. Man, if you try to just establish the run to set up the pass, every series is going to be 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 12. Florida State, I think, is averaging on 3rd downs to go like 3rd and 9. They're like 2nd or 3rd worst in the country on average yards to go on 3rd down. That's because they continue to try to set up the run. Or not set up they continue to try to establish the run. And what we've seen through 5 games is it's just not happening. So they can keep doing that. But against the likes of Miami, Notre Dame, maybe even Florida, if they know you're going to pass and it's 3rd and 12 because you've run the first 2 times trying to establish the run, I shouldn't say no, you're going to pass. If you're in 3rd and long, they're coming after you, and you're going to have a hard time picking those up. That's just football, man. 3rd and longs are hard to pick up. This offense is awful on 3rd down, mainly because it's always 3rd and 10. Well, don't even get to 3rd down then. That's my advice. Go chuck it around the field on 1st and 2nd down. Then you're kicking extra points instead of having to call a play for 3rd and 13. But we're to the point now through 5 games. Some good defenses, some not good defenses, a couple of very average defenses, and no matter who they've gone up against, they haven't been able to run the ball. That is not changing miraculously over the next 7 weeks of the season because they're about to start playing some real good defenses. So, you can establish the run and shorten the game, but you're not going to pick up 1st down. I'd love to see, in fact, during the break, I'm going to go back and look to see how many 1st downs they have rushing and how many 1st downs they have passing. Because by and large, almost every one of their chunk plays this year, save for the Cam Akers run against Virginia Tech, all their chunk plays, all their big-time explosive plays have been through the air, all of them. They can't open up holes for these running backs. And if the quarterback doesn't keep it, you just don't have a running game. So at some point against these great defenses, you get to 3rd and 12, that's going to be really hard to do anything with. But we're saying the same thing every week. But we're not one of these shows, are we, Aslan? We're not going to be breaking down what the linebacker does on 4th and 3.
No, but
that's not who we are.
This is the thing. So this guy's probably listening to this right now, and I've ruined his day, and I don't mean to. And he's probably going to write a long response on the tribal council like, dude, you really need to chill out and not take things so personally, or else quit your job if you're going to take things so personally. Well, then, why can you pretty much call me an ass? Like, that's just like, come on,
man. I got you. I just, I hate to see you like this, Aslan. I thought we had gotten past this. This was the Aslan I knew in like April and May.
Yeah.
I thought we got past worrying about what other people thought. You got a good show here. You've got an incredible co-host.
Damn right.
And you let this one guy dominate an entire segment. That's not what we do on Wake Up War Chant, buddy.
Well, there's your football talk.
That's
everybody.
not what we do. A guy the other day on Twitter told me to shut the F up. If I'm not going to support the team, I need to shut the F up because he pays my salary. Because he said he's a War Chant subscriber. I tweeted back and told him to shut the F up. There we're even, and that was the end of the exchange. That's just what it is. Fine, you disagree with me. That happens all the time. I just looked it up though. Florida State is averaging 2.8 yards per rush.
Okay.
The rush is not setting up anything. It's just not. It doesn't. If Florida State threw 70 times, I don't think the offense would be worse than it is right now. That said, I know you can't throw it 70 times. You don't want to be that kind of offense. But you have to have some balance as far as play calling. But the balance in yardage, it's not even close. Florida State has, they have 3 times as many yards passing as they do rushing this year. 1377 to 487. First downs, they have 27 rushing and 54 passing. They have 9 touchdowns through the air. They have 4 touchdowns on the ground. Everything they're doing on offense is because of the pass. So I don't think that 2.8 yards per carry is what's opening up the passing game. I think if they give that quarterback time to throw, he has a pretty good arm. He's pretty good. He's pretty accurate, and he's got a nice stable of wide receivers. That's why they're scoring through the air. And that said, they did score 10 points the first 2 ACC games. So this was one game where they still had 7 points with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. So hopefully they built on that. They scored 21 points over the final 4 drives. So hopefully they can build on that. But I'm certainly not ready to think that this juggernaut that we saw on Saturday, the final 18 minutes, was because they had been setting up the run for 2.5 games in the ACC.
All right, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about, but we're going to step aside. We'll be right back after this. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're listening to Wake Up War Chant, low-carb beer for the Seminole soul. Back to Aslan and Corey.
Yo, Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, rep the set, gotta rep the set.
Wake up! Welcome back. It's Wake Up War Chant. It's usually Corey and myself, but sometimes we got to go to the people that know what's really going on. And by that we mean Michael Langston. Let's talk some recruiting. Michael, thanks for being here, man. How are you?
Oh, my pleasure, man. Doing great.
Great to have you here, man. All right, so it's Florida State, Miami. It's a big-time game. Again, I don't know how much, we've talked about wins and losses, how much it affects recruits. But when there's guys that are considering both schools, how much do these head-to-head matchups kind of affect the dynamic of a kid's recruitment?
I think it's more the game, too. I mean, how the game goes. If it's a battle, it's back and forth. I don't think it really matters too much to a kid I know fans don't want to hear that. If you win or lose, I don't think it's going to be devastating for one of the other teams as long as the other team doesn't get, flat humiliated or something like that or killed. So as long as it's a good game, I think kids that liked Miami before are going to like Miami after it, and kids that liked FSU before are going to like FSU after because they feel like, hey, they're just missing me. I'm the guy that's going to take them to the next level, or I'm going to take them to the next level. They just need help. So I think as long as your team isn't humiliated or blown out or something like that, that's the only time I think rivalry games really hurt you.
Is there a player or two that you can think off the top of your head that's considering both Florida State and Miami that fans need to be aware of?
I don't think there's anyone. Obviously, early on in the spring, I would have said this game, is big for a guy like Chris Bogle. But, FSU hasn't really been, mentioned too much with him. Seems close to, it seems like Miami has done a really good job with him. He's really high on Miami. Seems like they're the favorite. I don't think there's anybody that I can think of, off the top of my head, that's like a recruit that's a battle between those two. They're not battling for too many guys that are head-to-head, which is probably really still surprises me because, FSU and Miami and there's a lot of guys that both schools have wanted, that, Florida State's gotten or Miami's gotten, but this year it just doesn't seem there isn't a lot of those guys. But he's really the only one I think of. Now, if FSU came out there, say FSU pulled the upset and won, I think it would raise an eyebrow with Chris, and I think that would certainly help them in a significant way with him. I think it would definitely, open his eyes and maybe get him to energize with FSU and maybe give them another look, a strong look. But, and that goes, but this game's really, I always say this, like, this game is so important for the younger South Florida prospects that you're after. They're so big to set the tone. If, even if FSU just went out there and played really good, but they still lost, I think it would have a solid impact on a lot of these kids, the impact they would do. And it also solidifies guys like Dante Lucas that are from South Florida and they've committed to FSU. It helps them solidify. It's like, yeah, this is what Willie's doing. He's turning the corner. He's turning it around. And it kind of solidifies that. So I can go back to my other point. Like, as long as you don't get, like, flat humiliated, I think it doesn't really hurt you. But, there's a solid opportunity here, at FSU. I said many times on our site, last week was a must-win. They found a way to win against Louisville. Now they have a great opportunity, and this is a good opportunity for them to really energize FSU's recruiting, this week with a good showing.
WarChant.com recruiting analyst Michael Langston joining us here on Wake Up War Chant. Michael, you mentioned this game, win or lose. Obviously, if it's not too one-sided, it's not going to really affect guys, at least this 2019 class. But you were saying something about maybe further down the line. So the kids that are sophomores and freshmen right now in high school, these games, the outcome of it affects them a little bit more?
Yeah, sophomore, freshmen, they're juniors. 2020, 2021, and beyond. This is the game that will really set the tone for what you're building. And I think that's what's important.
Okay. Quarterback, Sam Howell, still in the fold for Florida State, but there's always who's going to be that second guy. People keep wanting to know who the second guy is going to be. Lance Legendre, is that? I want to give him a little bit of that French Creole role since he's from Louisiana.
Yeah, I think you got it right. I couldn't tell you how to pronounce his last name, but they had an article recently on War Chant that he's heavily considering FSU, and that's the school he hears the most from, and that's kind of the guy I mentioned recently, that if they were going to get a second quarterback, it would be Lance. He seems to be really high on Willie Taggart. He's really high on Walt Bell and what they do, and he likes the system. And he's a very athletic guy. He'd be a really good fit for what they do. Throws the ball really well, nice pass, good arm strength. He kind of fits the not developmental, but he fits the kind of criteria what they are wanting in a guy in this offense. So he would certainly be a guy, but Sam Howell's still the priority. That's the main thing. I would suspect that if they did decide to really push, then Sam would be very, communication would be very high on what they're doing and make sure he's okay with that and stuff, because he's their first priority. But assuming there's no problems there, I think he certainly would be a good option. But I'm still not sure if they'll get a second quarterback in this class. It's still, I'm not sure about that. But Lance would be the guy. The other guys I haven't really heard much about. Hasn't mentioned much buzz about, a second quarterback at this point.
Who do you think is maybe the biggest sort of competition? Is it the hometown team or the home state team, LSU?
No, they're not really that. They're in it a little bit. A lot of people think it's just like, oh, LSU would definitely be. He likes them, but I don't get the vibe like he's like this LSU diehard, fan that has to go there. I think I forget the teams he mentioned today, but when we talked about LSU, it was just kind of like, yeah, they're in there. I like them, but I'm not sure he's in one of those criteria where he's just a diehard fan. Right. So I think there's a chance for a lot of teams. I think Tennessee was one of the teams that were in there. They certainly need a quarterback when you watch them play. Yeah. So, but I think there's an opportunity there. It just depends on. It's just a slippery slope of how FSU's going to recruit him, because you'd like a second quarterback in this class, but you also don't want to do anything to kind of upset Howell any, since things are back to a good place there again. So I'll be curious to see how they kind of present it and how they go after him and what way and how they, because they got to be really careful just on how much they pursue him and it was a difficult thing what Howell committed to, where they were going after other guys. Just kind of like, yeah, we'd like a second quarterback, but Sam's our dude. So it's going to be a tough kind of obstacle as far as going after another guy. But once like I said, if Howell's good with it, I think you'll see FSU push for him. And then kind of go from there. But certainly, last weekend was a big win for them. To even set this kind of run up after all these recruits. I mean, this is I can't. It wasn't just a must win for the team. It was a must win too for recruiting, because it would have been really bad going into the Miami game if you lost that game. You'd be I think 2-3, and then you could be 2-4, and then you could see a spiral effect. So I think from a recruiting perspective, as far as buzz, it really was big. And a lot of recruits I talked to, they were really excited about, the way this team came back. Yeah, they know all the mistakes, but it kind of goes back to what we talked about previously, the last time I was on here is, you need to give recruits something to grasp onto. Well, last weekend they gave them something to grasp onto. So now they got to keep it going.
Gotcha. Michael Langston, again, recruiting analyst for WarChant.com. Last thing, Michael, just anything new on the offensive line, linebacker front? That's the two positions people seem to kind of ask us the questions most about and want to kind of get your feel for it. I know Will Putnam is one of those guys that's still one of the targets. I mean, any developments over the last week or so, or does Florida State still have the same sort of guys targeted and they're just trying to pursue those guys?
Well, we've heard there's 6 or 7 new guys. I'm sure that includes JUCO guys. I do not have names. I know people ask me that every day. I get like 50 emails a day, like, do you know names? And we don't know names yet. I don't know names of these new guys that I've heard. There's 6 or 7 different new guys, so the net's widen. I don't know the names. As soon as I know the names, we'll certainly do another offensive hot board, which we did, and then and go from there. At linebacker, they have 2 committed. They have 2 really good ones, Kalen DeLoach, Jaleel McRae. Both of them are having, pretty good seasons. And they need 2 more. N'Kobe Dean's kind of up in the air how that's going, because first he said an official visit to Texas A&M, then he's kind of backed off to it. So FSU's pushing to get a visit there. So if he visits, I think they need to get him in for an official. So FSU is working the phones hard on that. I know they're confident they can get one, but, still no official visit set for FSU yet. So linebackers, they basically need 2 more guys. It's mainly the same guys. I've talked about Derek Hall before. I think right now my pick will be Auburn. I still think it'd be Auburn at this point. So, and there's new guys in there as well. I just don't have, the new names except for guys that we've already covered. But I think with the offensive line, these guys, it'll pick up a lot, especially on their bye week after this Miami game. FSU has a bye week, so I expect we'll know the names by then, because FSU is going to hit the road. They're going to be serious, and they got 2 offensive line commits. They want to get, I think, between 4 and 6. So, almost practically halfway there, but certainly work to do. But I think it'll pick up once we hit that bye week.
Recruiting chat going down this week at all, Michael, over on WarChant.com?
Always, every Wednesday, 8 p.m., guys. Don't miss it.
All right, there you go, folks. You can find out much more on the recruiting chat with Michael Langston from WarChant.com. Michael, thanks for the time as always, man. I appreciate it.
You got it, man.
All right, we're going to step aside. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to Wake Up WarChant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
All right, I'm down to tropical storm, Aslan now, or maybe tropical depression. Womp womp. Miami week. Corey, you like Miami week?
I do like Miami week. It's, kind of what I grew up on. I started going to games, and I believe actually the first away game I ever went to was 1984 in the Orange Bowl. I was 9, and Miami was coming off a national championship, and Bernie Kosar was still the quarterback, and Florida State beat them 78, beat them 38-3. My dad got really drunk because back then the Orange Bowl was like the only college stadium that sold beer, and they stopped selling at halftime. So my dad felt like he had to load up, and oh boy, it got rough there in the third quarter. But he had a good time. He was just laughing and jovial, and he did not drive me home. I just want you guys to know that I drove, and it was a fun trip. It was a good first experience in the Orange Bowl, and then they didn't win there again for 12 years.
Yeah. I don't have any good memories, so that's why we're going to have Gene Williams on the show later this week, the founder and administrator of WarChant.com, to talk about his favorite Miami memories. Because I, in my time, had to run concurrent to Chris Ricks, and for anybody that knows Florida State football, you know that Chris Ricks never beat Miami.
And it wasn't for a lack of chances.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the first game I ever covered as a, quote, reporter or journalist was actually with WarChant, was 2005. Was the muff kick, that beautiful 10-7 slobber knocker with Drew Weatherford just throwing lasers all over the place like it was a Pink Floyd cover band show. Pew, 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 pew.
That's good stuff.
I think
you're bringing it back. You're back, baby. The A-bomb is back.
I think
random guy on the internet is not in your head anymore.
Actually, this is the funny part right now, Corey. Over break, I just reread the post that triggered me, and it really wasn't that bad. So we're probably gonna have to go back and record the first segment over again because
there's zero chance that's happening.
Come on,
you just need to apologize to the guy now.
Should I say his name though? Should I say his handle?
Don't do that. Where was it anyway?
It was on Tribal Council. It was responding. I post the shows every day, and he was the first response. So whoever that was, you know who you are.
Right.
Sorry. We can hug it out if we ever come across each other, if you're cool with that. Anyhow.
Yeah, because he started out by saying he loved the show. That's after that, just tune out. Just an ellipses, like a Jimbo ellipses. Just he's going to go in a different direction. Just as soon as somebody says I love the show, don't even keep reading if there's a but right after it.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't even read all of it. It even says at the end, not trying to be critical. Oh, actually, but no, it says not trying to be critical, but the way you continue harping on being a throw first team makes you both sound like you don't have real football knowledge.
Well, that's his opinion. That's fine.
That's just flipping rude. That is just flipping rude.
But people are allowed that opinion. I mean, trust me, man. I know Willie wants to run it 55 times for 300 yards. That's what he's done. That's where he's been top 12 in the rushing offense each of the last 3 years. This year he's in the 120s. They can't run. They can try to run. That's fine, but they're not establishing the run. They're not in any common parlance that I've ever used it as. They are establishing that they will try to run, but they are not establishing a run. And against good defenses with incredible defensive lines, those linebackers aren't going to be firing up field. The defensive linemen will handle the running game. It's not setting up anything, I don't believe. And I know Willie says that. But when you're averaging 2.8 yards per carry, the running game isn't setting up anything. It's just not.
With that said, Florida State will romp for 216 yards in Miami Gardens on Saturday night. How do you feel about the game right now, Corey? Somebody pointed out the fact that as long as that turnover chain stays in its little bucket or basket or box or whatever, they'll be pretty well off, which I agree. I think, Florida State doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, that's what helped out North Carolina to such a large degree on Thursday night. That's another bummer that they get an extra, 2 days to prepare for Florida State, as if Florida State needs any more sort of odds against them playing a big-time rival. I don't really know what to think about Miami. I was absolutely disappointed by the way they played against LSU, but maybe their defense is something special, LSU's, and that's why Miami struggled. Plus, it's now N'Kosi Perry, I think is his name, is the quarterback now, and Malik Rozier is no longer the guy, but I don't feel overly optimistic about the game, but that's probably nothing shocking to anybody, or I don't really know who does. But I guess, yeah, if Florida State doesn't turn the ball over, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Miami starts feeling some pressure and does something and self-destructs. One can hope, right?
Yeah, and again, it's a weird rivalry. They haven't played Florida State particularly well down there. When was the last time they won down there? 2004?
Yeah.
That Miami's beaten Florida State in that, down in South Florida. It's been a long time. And, I'm not sold on that quarterback yet. He might be great. We'll see. He didn't have to do anything on Thursday night. They had 3 defensive touchdowns. So, yeah, man, if Florida State doesn't turn the ball over, if maybe Florida State can somehow figure a way to jump on a loose football, I mean, it is crazy. The opponents have fumbled 13 times this season, and Florida State's recovered 2 of them. And the one they recovered was just it rolled into Brian Burns' hands when he wasn't even looking. He's like, oh, I guess I'll run with this. Yeah. They just have a really hard time picking up a football. And on the other side, they fumbled 11 times and lost 7 of them. So out of 24 fumbles that they could have possibly recovered this year, they've recovered 9. They've recovered 6 of them. Is that right? That's crazy. They've recovered.
I feel like I must have been blocking
6 of 24 fumbles.
I must have been I cannot. There's no way the ball has hit the ground 24 times, unless I've just been blacking out for long stretches of football games this year, which is
Florida State's fumbled 11 times and recovered 4 of them. The opponents have fumbled 13 times and recovered 11 of them.
Oh, okay. I thought the opponents had fumbled 13 or 26 times.
No, total. There have been 24 fumbles in Florida State football games. Florida State has recovered 6 of them.
Okay, that sounds about right.
6 of 24. That's incredible. It's almost impossible.
Poor DeKalen Brooks, who's the co-linebacker of the Conference of the Week, first such Florida State linebacker to be named ACC Linebacker of the Year since 2015, Jacob Pugh. Yeah, he's just allergic to leather. Like he can get it onto the field, but he can't get on the grass.
I could not believe that kid, the Louisville quarterback, recovered that fumble. It bounced right back to him, to his left hand. And then he lost it. He bobbled it again and still got it with his left hand. That was crazy. That should have been a fumble return for a touchdown. And instead it bounced right back to him. They have had some crazy bad luck when it comes to fumble. I mean, that bounced right back to him. I think there was another play in that game where a fumble bounced right back to the kid. But also, you might maybe be more aware. Maybe if you're swarming more to the ball that I still don't see enough of out of this defense, you have more people around to recover. That helps too. Having 5 guys there looking at the ball, being there to try to recover instead of usually it's 1 or 2 guys making a tackle. So they got to get better about that. But most of it's just luck. I'm not going to blame it on them not trying hard to recover fumbles. It just, DeKalen got really unlucky on the Louisville one, and then the Northern Illinois one. Obviously, he could have picked that up. He could have fallen on that, but he's trying to scoop and score.
Back to Miami real quick.
Okay.
In the last 30 years, Corey, how many 10-win Miami teams has Florida State defeated?
89.
Correct. That's the list. It's over. It's done. That's it.
I was going to say,
that's it.
I don't know. Is that it?
That's it. That is it.
Well, maybe this isn't a 10-win Miami team. Now, they've beaten 7 top 10 Miami teams, but they're only top 10, on past accomplishments. It wasn't because those and then they fell out of the top 10, never to get back. Like the 2013 team. There's been a couple times where Ja'Cory Harris, when they had him ranked high, and then that never actually materialized into good football teams. But
I just think it's funny.
And what's crazy about that, the one time that they beat an exceptional Miami team, that Florida State beat an exceptional Miami team, Miami still won the national championship. So there you go. That's kind of how this rivalry's gone. That's how the rivalry went back in the 80s and 90s when both teams were good. Anytime Florida State won, the one time that Florida State knocked them off, it didn't matter. They still won the national championship.
That's literally the only time they've ever beat a 10-win Miami team was 1989. So I feel like I'm sticking up for Jimbo Fisher, which I'm probably subconsciously doing so, but because, whatever, who cares? He beat them 7 times in a row. How good were those Miami teams? Is this like the best Miami team in the last 8 years? Or, like, is this a better Miami team than any team Jimbo beat?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard to say because we don't know exactly what this Miami team is yet. Probably, but just because I think Rick is better than any of the coaches he beat before that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think the defense is good. The defense is legit, like top 20 defense, top 15 defense. This team kind of believes in itself now. They've won whatever they've won. Did they win 10 games last year?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so they won 10 games last year, and they're 3-4-1 this year. So they're whatever they are, 14-4 in their last 18, which is a really good stretch for Miami football this millennium. So yeah, man, I think so. I think it would probably be the best team that Jimbo would have beaten or played. I think that 2013 team was just smoke and mirrors. I know they were number 5 when Jimbo beat them, but they weren't the 5th best team in the country by any stretch, and they proved that as the season went on. Florida State was the first team really with a pulse they played all year. So yeah, I think Jimbo in both rivalries. What was the best Florida team that Jimbo played? The one that beat them. Yeah. All the other ones were kind of eh. I mean, he got to play 2 Florida teams that didn't even go to bowls.
He's gone. He's gone. Stop
That's
kicking
crazy.
My man. Stop kicking my man.
And then the same with Miami. Like I just think it was a middling 500 ACC program that Jimbo played really his whole time at Florida State. And he beat them, which is better than the alternative, because there were some of those Florida State teams weren't great either, and he still won those games. But yeah, he didn't beat. He wasn't beating, Vinny Testaverde and Michael Irvin and those guys.
I can't believe that. I had no idea.
It's crazy, yeah. I would have thought that one time in the 93 team,
they were 9-3.
But I guess they lost. What did they lose? They lost to West Virginia that year, and then I guess they lost the bowl. But that 93 team, I would have thought. And then, once 95 and 96 happened, that was kind of the probation years, and they really struggled. And then, 99, they weren't all that great, even with Santana Moss. And then 2000, they lost to them. That was when Miami got back again, was in 2000, and Florida State lost that game. Now they should have won many of those games against 10-win Miami teams. They just found a way at the end not to.
See, it's a weird relationship I have with this rivalry because I want to beat Miami, of course. I don't lose nearly as much sleep as I do against Florida. Like, I'm already losing sleep over the Florida game. The Miami game, I don't know. There's things that have happened in my past that I have to remind myself to conjure up. That way I can, build the requisite venom needed to go into this game. Like, what was the game? What was here? Was it 2009 when Xavier Lee dirtballed there? Was it 2007, right?
7. Yeah, 07.
I remember just some guy just absolutely neutered me in front of my friends, and I tried to go after the guy, but then my friends got in the way. Like, no, we can't get into a fight. So I have to remember that guy, him and the cackle of his other friend after we lost that game. Like, that's what I have to remember. But with Florida, I don't have to remember anything. I'm just always they need to lose every single game they play in every single competitive endeavor that they undertake. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we took it for granted. Jimbo had me take it for
weird.
granted. 7 times in a row. Come on, man. What you want?
Yeah, I think it's weird with the Miami Florida State rivalry is they kind of both came up together as national powerhouses. Miami got there a little quicker. They got there in '83. Florida State didn't really get there until '87. And Florida State stayed longer, even though Miami won more championships. We all know that, but Florida State was more relevant throughout the '80s and '90s than Miami was. The late part of the 90s, mid and late part of the 90s. But they came up together, and I do think there was respect there. Bowden and Schnellenberger used to pose for pictures to try to, they did photo shoots to try to hype the game.
Right.
They were friends, and they realized how important they really did help each other. And obviously Florida State helped Miami more than vice versa because they kept giving them national championships, but they really did. And I think there was a mutual healthy respect there. Now it might've dissipated here recently or in the 90s or 2000s. I think they all, but I think it's one of the things with the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And since Miami fans don't like Florida either, I think that was part of the thinking there, but then Florida started playing Miami. Florida stopped playing them completely. So then there wasn't really that mutual distaste for another program out there. And then also you had the wide rights, and I think that's where it kind of got contentious. But my problem with Miami, almost more than anything else, has always been just the fans. They're a certain anytime you're at a Miami football game, either they're in Doak and they come to Doak, or you go to Miami, it's just a
different brand of
to me,
obnoxiousness.
it just feels like the Jersey Shore.
Right. Okay.
Like just that type of dude, bro, wearing his throwback, looking for a fight. It just seemed wearing whatever they're wearing. It's really hard to appreciate that fan base. So that's where I have my main issue with Miami fans, and they don't go to their games unless they're awesome. They don't really fill up that stadium. But that said, it's been a cool rivalry, man. It's been really neat. I've been to probably, I don't know, in the last 35 years, I've probably been to half of them, maybe more, maybe 20 of them. And some of them were the most famous college games of all time. Yeah. And it's really neat looking back. I know it stung at the time, but those wide rights were incredible football games with incredible football players. And you can't tell me that Miami had more heart. Like Michael Barrow said after the second wide right, we wanted it more. We had more heart. Man, that's just utter nonsense. They missed a field goal. Florida State did enough to win all of those games. They just couldn't make field goals. Great, man. That doesn't mean you wanted it more. It just means you had Carlos Huerta and Florida State didn't. And that's what separated the two programs for years. Is they had a very good kicker, Florida State didn't. And that's other than that, Miami would have 2 or 3 national titles. Florida State would have 5 or 6. But those were awesome football games looking back to be at. I'm glad I was there, even through the pain as a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old or 16-year-old Florida State fan at the time. It's neat to look back and know that I was there for history. And, I know that Auburn, Alabama, and Ohio State, Michigan, and Notre Dame, whoever gets so much attention for being the great college football rivalries. I'm telling you, man, for people that are actually under 80, Florida State, Miami, and Florida State, Florida, in my opinion, those are the 2 best rivalries of the last 4 decades. There you go. I said it. And let's hope we get another great one on Saturday. Am I right, Aslan?
Yes.
Another
indeed.
barn burner. Another 31-30, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Again, 216 yards rushing. It's going to happen. All right, Corey, I'm done. You have anything else to add?
How many quarters would they have to play against Miami to get 216 yards rushing?
4, buddy. It's
happening.
I
say 10.
I have put the stink on the run game. The run game will use my manure to blossom a beautiful flower, a beautiful gem of a game. I'm sure of it. It's going to happen. It's got to.
I can't wait to see it, man. And I will say before we go, they did have some stuff working in the first half, I thought, in the running game.
They did. That's correct.
They did. They made some nice pushes. They pushed guys over the linebacker. They ran hard a couple of times. I think Patrick almost got out the gate on one. He still got a first down, but I mean, he hit the hole. He was flying, and he just got tripped up. And there were a couple of times I think where the lineman came up and pushed guys forward to get first downs. It looked like a different kind of unit. But in the second half, it kind of devolved. They didn't run well at all. In the second half, again, it wasn't there. It wasn't an option. And I tell you one thing, baby, on that last drive, Aslan, let me ask you a question. On that last drive, did Florida State run to set up the pass?
Let me go back and look at my chart. No.
I feel like they threw it on every down.
At least the ones that I got to see, that was the case.
Sure, they weren't doing the Captain Rocky on the boat. Those segments. Yeah. So, hey, man, if you want to throw it 100 times in a game just to see what happens, what a box score looks like with, 96 pass attempts, let's see it, Willie. I want Tamorrion Terry to have 371 yards receiving in a game. It might as well be in Miami Gardens against those Jersey Shore
people.
Animals.
Oh, take it back. People got mad that I said hoodlum. Like they thought it was like coded language. But anyhow.
Oh, what do you mean? For Miami fans?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Miami fans are aggressive, abrasive human beings. There they go. That's very neutral.
Well, but it's not. It's certainly not anything to do with race because it's all colors and creeds when it comes to annoying Miami fans.
All right, man. We're done making people angry. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. We'll catch up with you guys tomorrow.